Be honest with yourself. How many mornings have you opened your eyes and felt a quiet weight in your chest before your feet even touch the floor? Not because you are lazy, not because you lack ambition, but because you already know what the day is going to feel like? The inbox, the meetings, the polite smile, the silent dread. If you have ever whispered to yourself, "I hate my job," and then immediately felt guilty for thinking it, this conversation is for you. You might have a stable salary, a respectable title, a predictable routine. On paper, your life works. And yet, something inside you feels off. Today, we are going to explore an ancient idea that speaks directly to this modern tension. It is called right livelihood. And it may explain why your job feels so wrong, even when everything looks right. Most people do not wake up one day and suddenly hate their job. It builds slowly. First comes mild frustration, then chronic stress, then emotional numbness. You start feeling tired all the time, even after a full night of sleep. You become irritable with coworkers. Sunday evenings feel heavy. You fantasize about quitting, but you stay. This is not weakness. It is a signal. The World Health Organization defines burnout as a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. It includes exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job, and reduced professional effectiveness. This is not drama, it is documented reality. Many people function inside this state for years. They show up, they perform, they survive. But they are not aligned. And beneath burnout, there is often something deeper than workload. There is disconnection. Imagine living with two versions of yourself. One version performs well at work, meets deadlines, plays the corporate game, adapts. The other version sits quietly inside, asking uncomfortable questions. Is this who I am becoming? Why does success feel empty? Is this how I want to spend the next 10 years? This internal split creates tension. Over time, tension becomes stress. Psychology calls this cognitive dissonance. When your actions conflict with your core values, your mind experiences strain. That strain drains energy. You may not hate your job because it is difficult. You may hate it because it feels misaligned with your deeper self. That is a different problem, and it requires a different solution. Right, livelihood is one element of the Noble Eightfold Path in Buddhism. The Eightfold Path is a foundational teaching attributed to Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha, who lived in India around the 5th century BCE. It outlines a practical path for reducing suffering. Right, livelihood refers to earning a living in a way that does not cause harm and aligns with ethical principles. Early Buddhist texts discouraged occupations such as trading in weapons, human beings, intoxicants, and poisons. The core principle was simple. Your work should not create suffering. But this teaching goes beyond avoiding obvious harm. If your work consistently forces you to ignore your conscience, manipulate others, or compromise your integrity, something inside you slowly erodes. You can suppress that voice for a while. You cannot silence it forever. Many modern jobs are not clearly unethical. You are not selling weapons. You are not trafficking harmful goods. And yet, you feel drained. Why? Because harm is sometimes subtle. Maybe you constantly exaggerate promises to meet targets. Maybe your organization prioritizes profit over people, and you feel complicit. Maybe your work consumes so much time and mental space that your relationships and creativity disappear. Sometimes the hatred is not about tasks. It is about identity. You do not hate the job description. You hate who you are becoming inside that structure. That realization is painful, but it is also clarifying. At some point, you reach a crossroads. One path is familiar, stable income, social approval, predictable routine. The other path is uncertain. It may involve retraining, reduced income, a shift in status. Fear shows up immediately. What if I fail? What if I regret it? What if I lose security? These are rational fears. Responsibility matters, bills matter, family matters. Right, livelihood does not demand reckless decisions. It does not romanticize impulsive quitting. It asks something more mature. Can you begin moving, even gradually, toward work that aligns more closely with your values? That might mean changing departments, not careers. It might mean setting stronger boundaries. It might mean developing a parallel skill over time. Alignment is often built step by step. Pause for a moment. If nothing changed in your work life for the next 5 years, how would you feel? Not financially, emotionally. Would you feel proud of the person you are becoming? Or quietly resentful? That answer matters more than you think. Because resentment is one of the heaviest forms of stress. It corrodes slowly. Western culture often defines productivity by output and speed. Eastern philosophy introduces intention and harmony. Confucius, the Chinese philosopher who lived in the 5th century BCE, emphasized moral cultivation within one's daily roles. He taught that fulfilling one's role with integrity creates harmony in society. This does not mean your job must be glamorous. It must be honest. Right, livelihood is not about prestige, it is about coherence. When your skills, values, and actions point in the same direction, energy changes. Stress does not disappear. Deadlines remain. Challenges remain. But internal conflict decreases. And internal conflict is exhausting. In modern mindfulness circles, a phrase often repeated is, "There is no way to happiness." Happiness is the way. The saying is widely associated with Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese monk who helped bring Buddhist mindfulness to the West. It reflects a simple but powerful truth. How we live each day is inseparable from our well-being. If your weekdays constantly violate your conscience, it becomes difficult to build peace around that. First, conduct a values audit. Write down 5 values that truly matter to you: integrity, service, growth, stability, creativity, family, freedom. Second, analyze your current work. Where does it support those values? Where does it conflict? Third, identify the exact source of your resentment. Is it workload, culture, ethical discomfort, lack of meaning? Clarity reduces chaos. Fourth, experiment safely. Take courses, network intentionally, explore side projects. You do not need to destroy your stability to move toward alignment. Fifth, redefine what enough means. If your lifestyle traps you in misery, that is not success. That is dependency. Chronic stress is linked to increased risks of cardiovascular disease, anxiety disorders, and depression. These are established medical findings. Your work occupies a large portion of your waking life. Choosing it carelessly carries consequences. You do not have to hate your job forever. You also do not need to quit tomorrow. Right, livelihood is not dramatic rebellion. It is steady realignment. Less harm, more integrity, less internal conflict, more coherence. If this message resonated with you, reflect on it seriously. Share in the comments what part of your work feels most misaligned. And if you are committed to building a life where wisdom meets productivity, subscribe and continue this journey. Achieving more is not about doing more. It is about becoming someone you respect when the workday ends.